Welcome, friends, to another exciting episode of A VGM Journey. And I'm your host, The Messenger. The track that we're playing in today's show is Main Theme from the game Grand Theft Auto 3, and it was composed by Craig Connor and Stuart Ross. I've got another fun show for you guys, and before we get into that, I have a few top-of-the-show business that I need to go through. And mainly, it's to talk about a few guest appearances coming up in various different podcasts. So I have not just one, but two different shows with me as a guest coming out this weekend. Starting with the day after this episode comes out, Bedroth and his son Shukapow will be releasing my guest appearance on their show, Very Good Music, a VGM podcast, and that we will be talking about Mick Gordon and playing quite a handful of his awesome tracks. And then the day after that, Idiotville, which is another podcast from my hometown of Erie, Pennsylvania. They will be releasing their newest episode, and I joined them to talk about this podcast and video games and video game music. So you guys definitely need to check that out. And then later on in the month, XVGM Radio will be releasing their episode about the Yakuza games, which I joined Mike and Justin to talk about that. I'm not 100% sure on the release date for that, but I will keep you guys posted. And without further ado, let's get right into the music. I think we're going to kick things off with a track from Far Cry 6. This is Libertad, and it was composed by Pedro Bromfman. That track that you just heard, that was Libertad from the game Far Cry 6, and it was composed by Pedro Bromfman. To be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of this soundtrack, but this track, it's really good. And it also happens to be the main theme to the game. And it plays out in a really nice opening credits. It does seem like it could be the intro to a movie, but I'm getting a little off topic there. And the game itself, it's a lot of fun. I've been playing quite a bit of it. I actually just beat the main story for it, and I thought the ending was a bit underwhelming, and I think the story as a whole was actually pretty underwhelming as well, but the gameplay, I think it's pretty great. And I think it might be the best game where you play as a guerrilla fighter named Danny Rojas, and you and this organization, I guess you could call them an organization, called Libertad, and you're up against a tyrannical dictator who is played by Giancarlo Esposito, who seems like I've been seeing him pop up in more and more things, and that guy has never been bad at whatever role that he is playing. And I gotta say, it's a pretty entertaining time, so I recommend it. I think we're gonna shift gears a little bit, and we're gonna go a little dark with this next track. This is coming from Dusk. The track is Alienation Akimbo, and it was composed by Andrew Hulshult. That track that you just heard, that was Alienation Akimbo from the game Dusk, and it was composed by Andrew Hulshult. I've been playing a little bit of Dusk lately, so it was a game that I missed out on, and I jumped on it when it came out on the Switch recently, and it's kind of a throwback to Quake, which I really enjoyed that as well. And after playing the first 3 or 4 levels, I think I could definitely recommend the game. So it is a lot of fun. And I find the soundtrack overall much better than Quake. So there's a lot of rocking tracks in this soundtrack, but there's also a fair share of atmospheric tracks, and I think those tracks are better than the entire Quake soundtrack. And the premise of the game is pretty simple. You're a guy who's up against this satanic cult, and you fight cult members and demonic goats and rats. And the levels, some of them I find them pretty open, which is something I'm not too used to in something like Quake or Doom. And I think this is a soundtrack that I want to keep listening to, and I'm pretty confident I'm going to play more stuff from it in the future. I think we're going to totally shift gears again and play something a lot more energetic and more positive sounding. This is coming from Sonic Colors Ultimate. This is Tropical Resort Act 2, and it was composed and arranged by Tomoya Ohtani. That track that you just heard, that was Tropical Resort Act 2 from Sonic Colors Ultimate, and it was composed and arranged by Tomoya Ohtani. This track is a freaking jam, and I will admit, I found myself just totally jamming out to this track in my car. And yeah, it might be 6 in the morning, and I'm annoying the heck out of my neighbors and fellow drivers on the morning commute, but I think this is a good time. And I've been watching my fiance Carly play this game a little bit, and the music really sticks out to me. And I might be in the minority here, but I find the remixed soundtrack for Ultimate to be a little bit better than the original Sonic Colors. I know, you got the torches and pitchforks out, but hear me out. I think while the original soundtrack is amazing, I feel like a lot of the tracks in Ultimate, they're a little bit more fuller sounding and more realized. There are a few exceptions where I find the remix tracks to not be as good as the original, but overall, I think it's quite a bit better. Let's say we calm things down a bit and play this really nice track from Superliminal. This is Indefinity Full, and it was composed by Matt Christensen and Mello. That track that you just heard, that was Indefinity Full from the game Superliminal, and it was composed by Matt Christensen and Mello. And that's going to just about do it for the show this week. If you like what you've been listening to, have your friends check out the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, whatever podcasting service that you could think of. I'm more than likely going to be on there. You can email the show at vgmjourney@yahoo.com, and you could also check us out on Twitter at vgmjourney. We're going to play things out with one more track, and I think this track is pretty awesome. This is coming from Guardians of the Galaxy, and this track is called Space Riders with No Names, and it was composed by Steve Szczepkowski and Yohann Boureault. Have a good week, everyone.
Through the sun the gun. Crosses and you know you'll pay. All things of doom. No family, we walk alone. Black hole saloon. The wildest place you've ever known. I'll take you to the stars. I'll show you who we are. We're space riders with no name. I'll take you to the stars. I'll show you who we are. We're space riders with no name. I'll take you to the stars. I'll show you who we are.